Yeah, so we're live.
Yay.
Good, good. Hello, everybody that's joining. Once again, we'll just take a second or two. Hady's gonna post the live stream on our platforms, on our social media, and we'll get going like in a minute or two. So it won't be too long.
Which
I'll,
means I have time to prepare mentally, emotionally.
of course, I'll oh,
Hmm.
I'll share it on my Facebook and stuff.
Oh my god. Yeah, see, I play dead on Facebook.
Yeah.
I see like the
That's
old
good.
people in my life and oh no, no, no.
Yeah, I discovered Twitter and Instagram like last year, so I'm still old school,
Oh,
man.
you're late to the party. Oh,
Oh yeah,
Sam.
really.
You guys are really funny. Yeah, so I'm still sharing
All right.
the pod on groups.
Mm-hmm.
Feel free, guys, for
Yes.
people that are listening. We're gonna start in a few seconds. Obviously, feel free to share our pod, our live anywhere. Feel free to interact with us. We like when you interact with us. It makes the podcast even better than what it
Mm-hmm.
Of
is.
course.
Yeah. Oh, see there. Hey, Grumpy.
Hi, grumpy old man. That's it.
Grumpy.
Hi,
It's gotta be
man.
Grumpy Old Man. I can only
Yeah.
assume it must be. Hey.
Hello, man.
Yeah, so happy he joins us today, Grumpy. Thanks for being here, man.
Yeah,
So
man.
I think I shared it everywhere I needed it. I needed to share, so we can go ahead if you want to, guys.
Let's
Sure,
get her
I'm ready,
done.
man. Let's go.
So we'll start with our 30
Yep.
seconds countdown.
Hello, my friends. My name is Samuel Savy, and this week on the show, Montreal played Jekyll and Hyde this week as we exorcised the Santos Laguna demons but hit a wall in Florida. The Ultras confirmed they won't be in attendance anytime soon, and top appearance Academy graduate Mathieu Chouanière extends his stay for another 2 years. This and a lot more in episode 70 of The Ball is Round. And we'll also be debriefing the women national team performance at the Arnold Clark Cup later on in the show after all the Montreal content. So, this being said, I'm happy to be joined by my friends Yves Paul and Hady Raphael. How is everyone today?
Hey, I'm
I.
fine. I'm fine. It's been a week without TBIR, like 2 weeks without TBIR for me. It's a bit too much. I miss you
Right.
guys.
Yeah, I was missing
Even
you too,
me?
Hedy. I'm happy you're back, man.
Oh wow, yes, even you, Eve, even you,
Oh
even
my
you.
god. My god, you must be in withdrawal.
So, how was your week, guys? Hedy, it's been a long time, man. Everything's good?
Yeah. I had to drop my parents at the airport last night, so that's why I was in here with you guys. Was able to jump in a bit just to tell Eve how pessimistic she is, and yeah, it was fun. It was fun, and of course, listen to the show afterwards, as great as always. So
Hmm.
yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm a bit touched about what's going on in the world. I don't want to be too political, but I like what happened at Benfica with
Hmm.
Roman Yaramchuk coming into play. Benfica giving him the captain's armband, and when he came in, the whole stadium lit up. Everybody was clapping and supporting Ukraine. I love that. I love that in football because at the end of the day, football is a game, but it's a game that can uh, make a lot, that can make good things happen. So it's a good thing that we see everybody gather around Ukrainians, and I love that. You can see the video on any platform you want, Twitter.
Yeah,
I'm
or
sure.
we can share it on our Twitter page maybe
Mhm.
after the show for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah, it's a good idea,
yeah,
Eddie.
good idea.
Yeah, Eve, how was your week?
It was very long. I'm not gonna
Oh
lie,
yeah,
it was a week.
I know all about
But
that.
it was, it was awesome to go back to the Big O for sure. Finally, for the
Oh
first time
yeah.
in 2 years. Other than that's where I go to get my vaccinations done. So for
Okay.
me, I've been to the Big O, but for sporting, it was the first time, obviously, in 2 years, like for pretty much everyone else. So yeah. Anyway, it's been a week.
We'll talk later on of what happened at the Big O
Of
because we're gonna
course.
start right now about with the Orlando game because as we usually do on the Ball is
Ooh.
Round, we will review extensively the game that just happened. Obviously, we'll talk about the midweek game, but because there was a lot to talk about, but more of our focus is going to be on the Orlando game right now. So we'll jump right into it, guys. The team that officially put us out of playoff contention last year is at it again. This time in our first game of the season away
Oh
at
my
the
god.
Exploria. Today, Wilfred Nancy went with pretty much his usual formation. We had Breza in goal. From right to left, we had Alistair Johnston, Gabriele Corbo, Joel Waterman, Kamal Miller, and it was Zoran Basong at left wing back. In the middle, we had Victor Wanyama and Ismail Kone with Mihailovic and Miljevic, and up front, we had Romel Kyoto. So, any surprises, guys, with the lineup, or were you happy with the setup when the lineups came out?
I was a little surprised to see Alistair Johnson at right wing back of all positions because he, in his time playing fullback, certainly for Nashville, and even a little bit, I know he's popped up on the odd occasion there for Canada. He's been a lot more conservative as a fullback goes. So for me to see him at right wing back, I was like, okay. I thought maybe, Wilfred Nancy might have been battening down the hatches kind of for,
Mm-hmm.
an intense game in heat and whatnot. That was definitely one that surprised me, along with the start for Matko Miljevic.
Yeah.
Although after a
How do you-
midweek game, of course, some rotation was kind of to be expected.
Yeah, it was bound to happen. The start of the season, the fitness levels obviously are very high. We saw our team be able to compete, but we know it's not 100% yet. So, Hattie, what was your take on everything?
Listen, I'm pretty sure we're gonna go through that a bit later in the show, but using rotation, even you see last year, Wilfred Nancy at the beginning of the season was rotating a lot during the first few games. I don't know if you guys remember, and there's a lot of people that used to say, you're rotating too much.
Too
There's
much,
too many.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And at the end, everybody was like, why are you not rotating anymore?
Yeah.
So,
He's always playing the same players, yeah.
Exactly. So it's normal. The way Wilfred Nancy works is that at the beginning of the season, he gives a chance to everybody. And at one point, he chooses his starting 11. Now, the starting 11, of course, is the main foundation. And then, of course, if you have injuries, suspensions, or whatever, you get those changes. Now, right now, all the new players, the players that were starting today, I don't think not even one really won any points in order to be in the starting 11. So, it's hard to say ahead of time if it's a good decision or not. You have to give them minutes. If you don't give them
Obviously,
minutes,
yeah.
you're not going to know what they're worth, right? So
Mhm.
we're going to go, I'm sure, individually with into players. I'm pretty sure, Sam, but there are
at some point, yeah,
some
for sure.
players that were pretty average.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a cagey first half. I think Kyoto had the best opportunity. It was a super pass by Zoran Basong, reminiscing of Chouania's pass against Santos Laguna at the Big O. It seems like it's something that the team probably worked on because these runs of Kyoto are very dangerous when the pass comes early. Like I always say, I love these early passes, early crosses, and maybe Wilfred Nancy heard me, but nothing much to say about the first half. I think it was a pretty good performance in all. We went into halftime with the sense that anything could happen in the second half, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. I wasn't very enthusiastic about the first half either. Like yeah, it's
Like the
preseason teams,
first
right?
the first like 10, 15 minutes, I could get
It was
behind.
okay. Listen, I was so happy after the game against Santos Laguna. I saw so many great things that watching that first half against Orlando was like, that's hard to watch, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know. I wasn't really enthusiastic. Now, of course, it was 0-0. I think that Orlando played better than us, even
Yeah.
if Wilfried Nancy said that no. Uh,
Oh,
I
okay,
don't know.
Wilfred.
I wasn't really impressed with what I've seen in the first half. In the second half, it was disastrous. So
Oh, the second
Well,
half was bad. Go ahead.
and it was bad because it didn't start on good basis. The first goal was a defensive mix-up between Bassong and Miller, who were almost standing one over each other, and which led to a very very easy goal for Pato. And I want to talk about this goal because you know I've stressed a lot how mental defending is, right? It's a lot about thinking. It's a lot about positioning more than your. I think it's even more than your tackling abilities, than your passing abilities. And for one very rare occasion, Kamal Miller got it all wrong on that play, and
Oh.
he basically made two errors. If I can go into it quickly, I think he was way too close to Bassong, and when the run, I think it was from Juan, did come,
Mhm.
he wasn't on page with all the other defenders who had stepped and kept the line, and Kamal just dropped and followed his man. So it was difficult. It was very difficult for Kamal, and after he got absolutely like outpaced by the very very quick one. So yeah. Grumpy says, felt like we were coached by Claude Julien, dump and run most. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man.
But yeah, so for defenders, I think Kamal is a fantastic defender, but he got it all wrong on that play, and he probably knows that he should have done much much better. I don't know what you think, guys.
I agree with you, but I think he wasn't helped by Zoran Basong,
No,
who
no,
was nowhere
absolutely.
to be seen
Yeah.
defensively. And that's the problem of Zoran Basong. I'm gonna just one thing, Eve, before I let you talk. That's the problem with the Zoran Basong. He's not good at positioning. He doesn't know how to position himself as a left wing back in this system. That's his biggest problem right now. That's why he needs to learn, because when he plays as a center back, you don't have a lot of positioning to really look into in those back three with a back three. It's less difficult than when you play a left wing back role where you have to go up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, and you have to read the trajectory of the passes. And unfortunately, he's not good at that at all. And yes, we can blame Kamal Miller, but where is Zoran Basong? Zoran Basong should have been around that play. So yeah, I agree with you, Sam, but I think that it's not 100% Kamal Miller's fault.
No,
There's
no,
Zoran
that's not what I
Basong
was
as
Right.
saying.
well.
No.
But it's I was more pointing out that he can be so good at times, but on
Yeah.
this one he
Yeah.
made a basic mistake. But I'm sure it's
True.
the last time we'll see him do such a mistake. Eve, please.
No, I was gonna say, with the changes, given that it's early season, obviously, Last Line had started the two previous matches that Montreal had played. And I have to wonder how much, chemistry maybe there is between Zoran Basong and Kamal Miller. Maybe, it's just not as easy for them to get on the same page. And as well, they haven't had necessarily a ton of opportunity to play together because Zoran Basong's role has generally been off the bench, or as we saw a lot last summer, as a central defender. So I have to wonder if they have that understanding that like the general understanding that you have, particularly in a wing back position where your central defender needs to be really attuned to your positioning.
And that's a very fair point, Eve, because Kamal Miller, the way he plays his left center back role is that he goes very, very wide to help his left wing back. So when you're the left wing back in that situation, you need to be aggressive on the ball carrier, because otherwise you're caught in no man's land, exactly where Zoran Basong was. So, like you said, Hady, it's a split fault, because if Zoran Basong is quicker on the ball carrier, knowing that Kamal Miller is almost like right next to him behind, I don't think there's a goal there because maybe the ball carrier doesn't put such a good ball because he's under pressure. It just hits it off Basong and it goes for a throw in. So and just to make it really clear, I wasn't putting the blame on Kamal Miller at all.
No.
But
No.
it was a mixed error, and
Yeah.
I think Zeror Basong really didn't help Kamal Miller on that one at all. You're right.
Yeah, I wasn't saying that you were putting all the blame on Miller, but I know I've read a lot of tweets, people blaming Miller for that goal, and I was like, yeah, but yes, he is to blame, but he's not the only one. So let's look at the whole picture, and that's why I wanted to add that. Not I understand that you weren't really pointing out Kamal Miller.
No, I love this guy.
We do have.
But
Yeah, we do have just Xavier Paradis says gave 2 goals on easy things to fix. CF Montreal paid cash today. And he's
Yeah,
oh my God. I haven't even gotten into
man.
the other goal.
We'll get there.
You know where I'm going with this one.
Yes, and I'll
Go
go right
ahead.
into it.
Yeah.
The second goal, okay?
Should have been the
Look, we had a
third.
sequence, three plays in which back to back we tried to build from the back. It backfired horribly on the 2 first, but we kind of stuck to our guns, and we eventually got punished. There had been a lot of red flags, as we conceded a few minutes that happened a few minutes ago, but we still kept on going, and a mistake happened.
Oh my God.
Now the question is it more of a mentality mistake, or is it an individual mistake by Joel Waterman? Because Wilfred Nancy kind of threw Waterman under the bus on that play after the game, and I didn't really like that. We'll get into it after, but just on that moment, what went wrong? A lot, but precisely what went wrong.
What confused me was, generally speaking, and certainly more so than when Thierry Henry was in charge, Montreal under Wilfred Nancy, we had seen them, definitely place emphasis on playing out the back, but they had shown more flexibility as time went on. Cheers, Hady. They had shown more flexibility and kind of more of that awareness as to when it's the best, when it's a good moment to attempt that versus, just going direct. So I was really surprised by the naivety shown by the entirety of the Montreal backline, because Sebastian Breza was the one who played the initial ball. But then I'm sure Waterman gave him some communication indicating, oh, hey, I'm ready to receive it or something, So it's kind of like I'm blaming multiple people. And it just shocked me very much that after a very near disaster, they had almost conceded a goal and should have conceded a goal, then again got burned. And I believe that time, if I'm not mistaken, there was a lucky foul called. And then finally, Montreal was forced to. I don't understand why they were so sticking to their guns, especially in the games versus Santos Laguna. We had seen them do things other than build up the back.
Hady.
Yeah, I just want to say that Nancy didn't really point out only Waterman. He said that we have to take better decisions and to know when to play long and when to play short. And listen, I attended a lot of pressers of Wilfred Nancy in the past year. I think every presser after the game and every presser before the game. And I can tell you, maybe it's one of the first time that I see Wilfred Nancy's anger with his answers.
He was irritated. Yeah,
he was very irritated.
He was hot.
I would have been irritated if I were.
But
him.
you know what? It didn't show that much because he's not. It does like if you know him, because I've sat through pressers with him for a while. You can see that he was really not happy. And for me, it's not one player that he wasn't happy with. It's a lot of players. He talked about Kyoto. He talked about Breza. He talked about Waterman. He talked about a lot of players that he wasn't happy with, indirectly. Okay, it wasn't really direct. And I don't know. I feel we're still in preseason mode, maybe, or
sure.
it's the beginning of the year yet. We see our friend Chan said short week preparation for IMFC. Not surprised with the loss. Orlando is a good team. You know what?
Orlando is a good team, right?
It
Absolutely.
is a very good team.
I'm
Absolutely.
sorry, but no. Like, how can they be in preseason mode? Because they've played 2 competitive matches already. So they,
Two
to
more
me,
than
that's not
Orlando.
exactly. To me, that's not a valid point saying they're still
And
in
there is
preseason
one
mode.
thing that I don't like. I understand, and I've played all my life, and you do feel like you're not into the season until a few games in. You know
No,
you're a bit
and
rusty. You don't have your bearings right yet. But it's not the mentality you have to attack. Start of a season with. Because these 3 points can be crucial at the end of the season, right? So, but I get it. I get it. But ideally, you pick up the points and you don't really. I don't think the start of the season has to be used to get going. It's you have to be ready to start it, and but it's easier said than done, right? It's there's so much into this. Um, I just want to get back quickly to the goal we conceded. Okay. Wilfred Nancy says that players have to know when to play long, when to play short. This is something I think he's right, but let's not forget he's the one who is very very, you know I was gonna say obsessed. That's not a good word, but I mean he loves that type of play, building from the back. And I just go back to Joel Waterman, who I think, even though you say he wasn't just only pointing Joel Waterman, I think it was a bit unfair in his post game presser to say it the way he said. Joel Waterman is as old school a center back as they can come. This guy's gonna play a long ball every day of the week if he can. So somehow he's playing a game that has been imposed on him a bit. So, Wilfred Nancy blaming Joel Waterman, for me, I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure. I think, he asks his player to play a certain way. They make mistakes in his system. He can't dissociate himself from what's happening. That's just my point.
Yeah,
Oh, that's fair.
I think that Wilfred
And I
Nancy.
love Wilfred Nancy,
Yeah.
I love the guy. But when he goes in pressers, and I know he was hot, I know he was really thinking what he was gonna say, not to say words he shouldn't, but I didn't like the way he formulated that. If I'm Joel Waterman, I'm feeling a bit bad right now.
You know what? I think it would have been a lot worse if those comments came out in the middle of the season. I think
Okay.
that right now everybody knows that at the beginning of the season, it's time to learn. It's time it's time to learn what your colleagues, what your teammates do on the pitch. And if you look, I asked Alistair Johnston, what is your best position on the pitch? Or do you prefer being a right center back, or do you prefer being a right wing back? And his answer was like, I can play both positions. Yes, I'm better as right center back, but don't forget, guys, that it's the first time that we play together, all five of us. And he's right. It's the first time that we've seen those five play together: Besong, Johnston, Miller, Waterman, and Corbo. So I kind of understand if Wilfried Nancy wants to, tell his players, you know what, guys, wake up right now, because
Yeah.
I think it sets the tone for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, those were two incredibly naive, soccer 101 goals that were conceded today. And if I may find a silver lining, watch out, folks, I'm going to try.
Oh, wow.
Let's go.
Wow.
They made these two mistakes that both were thoroughly preventable. So that's something that can be coached out of them throughout the week.
Sure.
It's happened. It's done. You've learned your lesson, and you played with fire playing out the back the first time you got burned, and you fell asleep at the wheel with your positioning and you got burned. And hopefully, the fact that this was the first MLS game of the season means that we won't be seeing those mistakes down the line.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
No, for sure. That's the thing. You go into these games, and the feeling that you had last season is gone. It's been so long since you've played, so it's gonna take some time, but it can't take too long. Oh, grumpy man. Who's gonna read that? I'm not reading that.
I know. Well, you know what? I actually do have like a big thing against their away kit, so I'll read it. Okay. I'm really sorry, Mom. Grumpy says, not me, Mom. It was coming. The club was wearing a gimp suit, waiting to be spanked by the dominatrix. This is where I want to make a quick timeout here. So sorry, Grumpy, I'm hijacking your comment for my own platform. I am team non-gray shorts. I would like to see them not wear the gray shorts with the gray kit because I agree. To me, it looks like leisure wear. It's like, you're wearing your sweatshirt and then you're matching sweats and you're matching socks. So in my opinion, I too would be feeling bored and tired if I were forced to wear that clothing. I don't know if I would be feeling a spanking, even though that's what Montreal got today.
Whatever rocks your boat, Eve.
Hi guys, I want to hear you quickly on the two defenders that we didn't talk about, Gabriele Corbo and Alistair Johnston. How did you like their games?
I think Corbo was pretty good. I liked his game in the first half, especially. He was pretty good, in my opinion. I think he's a good catch as of right now. It's very early still, but I like what I see. Alistair Johnston. It was very average. Now he's still a great guy, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be a great asset for the team down the line. But right now, he's like learning this position, learning the system, learning the way Wilfried Nancy wants him to play. So I don't know. I still feel that I like Alistair Johnston better as a right center back. But we have so many center backs that I don't know if is there a place for Alistair Johnston at right center back. I don't know, man. But today,
I'm sorry, what?
Right?
Is there a place for Alistair Johnston at right center back? Hady, what's in your beer?
If Corbo is as good as what he's shown right now, you have Miller and you have Camacho plus Waterman. I don't know. Like today, Johnston didn't really impress me.
At right wing back.
Yeah, he didn't impress me.
At right wing back.
But still, who disappoint? Like, yes, Miller had a disappointing game, but you're not gonna remove Miller from the starting 11.
No. But I think that the issue, and we're gonna talk about it a bit later in the show, so just hold on your comments on this, guys. But the real problem is that Wilfried Nancy doesn't seem to trust Zachary Bourguignon. And that's why maybe Alistair Johnston is playing at that right wing back position, and maybe didn't have that good of a game. But if you want, guys, we'll keep that for a bit later because we have a segment on Zachary.
The only thing also I will say is it was worth trying the experiment of Alistair Johnston at right wing back. I think it was worth trying it though, to see how it went.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially because he didn't really get to do a lot of preseason matches with Montreal, given he was away with Canada and then he had to go into COVID protocol.
Yes.
So I don't know how much opportunity Wilfried Nancy had to experiment with him in the preseason at that kind of position. So it might have just, you might have had to do a preseason move casually early in, but nonetheless, it happened. We saw it.
Yeah. Just move on quickly, guys. Kyoto's red card. I think no complaints for anyone, right?
If you close your fists, you're giving the referee free license.
Yeah, I love the answer. The answer of Wilfried Nancy when we asked him about Kyoto. Yes, I'm going to talk to Kyoto. I trust my players, but as a leader, and then he didn't say anything. He's like, I'm going to talk to Kyoto.
Yeah.
So
he's going to have to talk in the office.
Not very, very happy. So but I think he's going to have talks with almost every player that started the game today. So
yeah. And I mean, props to Orlando because we all know that Romel Kyoto, he I think was for himself really disciplined last year. We didn't have any of those hothead moments, but we saw some frustration in him in the away leg at Santos Laguna. We saw that he was on the verge. In the home leg, obviously things were going really well for Montreal, so not that much, but he did still pick up another yellow card in that game. And then today, I think Robin Janssen was really given one mission and one mission only.
But listen, there's something I need to talk about here. Robin Janssen, I mean, he irritates me in my living room. His name has to be on on the blackboard before the game, saying this guy is just gonna be in your faces. He's always screaming. He's always gesticulating. Just don't pay attention to him. And that Chan has a good one. Kyoto Rocky Balboa. Yeah, I hope Rocky punched harder than that, though.
Yeah, I hope so too, man.
But players like Robin Janssen and anyone who played, you're always gonna play against players like this. There's no way to win. You can't get into fights or arguments. You just have to ignore them, and they're gonna make a fool of themselves. Themselves. But Kyoto got baited into it, and Janssen ran 15 yards to get into Kyoto's face. If Janssen stayed put, Kyoto didn't punch him, but Kyoto should have known better, though.
No, exactly. I mean, he's a veteran. He should know much better than that, and he's so important. And he is going to be suspended now for the first leg away at Cruz Azul because of his 2 yellow cards consecutive matches in Champions League, and now for the MLS home opener. So he's going to be well rested for
the return game. For the return game against Cruz Azul.
No, there's an MLS game in between, isn't there?
Is there?
Yeah, there is actually.
Philly on the 5th.
Yeah.
No.
Between there is the New York City FC.
Yeah. There we go. Thank you.
FC. Yeah, you're right. But you know what? Okay, I don't like that, but in my opinion, you need someone like that on the pitch.
I
agree.
agree.
Need someone that's a bit hot-headed. I don't know. I like that because it shows that you have balls.
No, that's the thing. I would rather sorry, I'm cutting you off. Whatever. I'm so sorry. No, I would rather have somebody who's passionate and somebody who's really into it and really invested and has that intense feeling. But at the same time, it is a really thin line that you got to walk. And our friend Michael McCall from AFTN says, happy to take Kyoto off your hands for Cavallini. You know you want to. I saw Lucas Cavallini's casual. That was a casual stroll yesterday with Vancouver.
And
so that's no for me, dog.
No, me too. But Hady, can you put Xavier's comment? I really like that, and I just want to go in. Xavier says you don't win with only nice players. And I was in the metro going back home after the Santos Laguna game, and I was talking to my friends and my girlfriend how the mentality changed, and there's no more Mr. Nice Guy with Montreal. We're physical, we're mean, we're in the other team's faces, but there's a price to be that way, and sometimes you can cross the line, right? And that's what happened today.
There's a smart way to do it too, right? I mean, what Kyoto did today was petulant.
Yeah, but you know what? Again, I'm okay with that as long as he doesn't do it too often. Now we asked Victor Wanyama about what he thinks about Kyoto's red card, and his answer was like, "Listen, the other guy was in his face all the game, and he believes, and that's Victor Wanyama, and I want to ask your opinion about that. He believes that Robin Janssen should have had also a red card because he did push him too. So I don't know what you guys think. I know that it's not the fist and everything, but still there is some kind of contact where he created the Kyoto reaction.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I don't agree myself. I think that if Romel Kyoto had pushed him with open hands, Romel Kyoto would only have gotten a yellow card. And Janssen, for his involvement, did get a yellow card. So for me, it's just dumb. If he had just pushed him rather than balling up his fists, Romel Kyoto would have finished the game. Well, no, he probably would have gotten a second yellow. Who's kidding? But, I mean to say, that's what pushed it over the edge because Robin Janssen did not close his fists. Yeah. He had the luxury of staying on the pitch.
Chad agrees with you.
Yeah.
Chan agrees with
Yeah.
you. He says
But
pushing happens every game, not punching. So he's right.
Exactly.
He's
there's
right.
one thing though. I know we won't change the game tonight on the ball is run, but
Really? We
when a
can.
player run, we can. Okay, let's go. When a player runs 20 yards to get into another player's face, pushes
Exactly.
him, then get punched. I
Exactly.
mean,
And you know what?
I
It
know
happened.
you're. It's a way to bait the opponent. I know,
Exactly.
but
But
It's
you
really
know,
you're
obvious.
looking to get. Yeah, but
it happened maybe 3 times before that play
Mhm.
where Jansen was in the face of Ramal Kyoto, like every time. So I think the referee should see the whole building up and what Robin Jansen was trying to do since the beginning. And that's why for me, I don't fully agree with Victorio Wanyama, but I think he does have a point somewhere because of the whole context. Not only that
yeah.
situation.
The
So I
the
don't
thing
know.
is, sorry. The thing is, once the referee sees the punch, he has to give him red. That's the thing. So
Yeah.
it's more of a mentality of the rules that need to be changed. As though
You're right.
if you run half the length of the pitch to get in the player's face, you push him, then he punches you. You look for trouble,
Mm,
but that's not how the rules are done. And the referee, I think the referee had a very, very good game. He was right on most of his decisions, and unfortunately, I think on Kyoto's red card, he was right. It was a
yeah.
yellow for Janssen and a red for Kyoto. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Now, are the rules written, right? That's another debate, I think.
Well, I think the rules would hope that it's a little bit more of a gentleman's sport than perhaps Robin Janssen conducted it today. So that I don't believe the rules ever took into account running 15 or 20 yards to get into someone's face. But hey, now that it happened, but no, I agree with you, Sam. The ref did get most of the calls right today.
Yeah, I think it was good.
Actually, and there were a couple of calls I thought like where Montreal might have committed a foul. I thought Victor Wanyama got a little lucky at the end of it as well.
Wanyama could have been sent off, and even Waterman at the end was lucky to only see yellow. That could have been a red. So I think he was lenient on both sides, but there was a flashpoint that he didn't have any other choice than to show red. Guys, just moving on. I like the changes Wilfried Nancy made, and I think we played our best football of the whole game when the changes happened, especially Lapalainen, Camara, and Torres really changed the dynamic of the game. What did you think about the changes, guys, and how did you like the performance of the players that came into the game?
Sorry, I don't think I would have heard Lapalainen change the course of the game ever.
He did
again.
well, though.
So,
He did well.
He
did. And like, I mean, we gave him a healthy dose of stick. On last week's episode. So credit where it's due, especially given that when he came on, Montreal was still down a man. So. Yeah, no, I agree. And I mean, he was also able to be a little bit more of an attacking threat, I think, because there really was nothing to lose for Montreal.
Yeah, I like the players that came in, but I think that it's
both Kai Kamara and Lassi Lapalainen missed a golden chance. Yeah, absolutely served on a silver platter across the 6-yard box from Alistair Johnson. So both of them, they do have that. I'm sorry, but they're both equal to blame on that one.
Yeah, but if you look at the game altogether, they brought, they weighed in, they played, they helped the team get better compared to the folks that went out, and that's my main problem. If you want to see rotation, if you want to be able to have depth within your squad, you have to be able to get more of the same or the same or more from your bench players than your starters, right? Mm-hmm. So this was really good, but Miljevic had a bad game. Kone had a very bad game.
I was so sad.
Of course, he's young, right? And it's okay. Play the youth, right? So, I don't know. It worries me. If we have to always play the same players to get results or to get, to have a good game, it worries me because you need depth. You're in MLS. You have a lot of traveling. You have a lot of suspension. You have a lot of fatigue that will settle in. So that worries me a lot.
Right, but like deep calming breaths here, right? Ramel Kyoto is regardless of his stupid move today, he's still undeniably the starting striker for Montreal. Then we now have a depth striker in Kai Kamara.
True.
And Sanusi Ibrahim, assuming he gets well soon, can also come in at that role. So we've got depth up top.
And Mason Toy is going to be back at some point.
Mason Toy will be back at some point as well.
Hamdi will be back. Get will be back.
Yeah, so deep calming breaths, Hady. I know it's a little weird for me to be like the voice of optimism here, but deep calming breaths. Definitely it was not a conclusive match for Matko Miljevic today. But deep calming breaths, I would say. I still think Montreal does have half decent depth.
We'll see. We'll see.
Guys, what I liked is that we fought until the very end, even though the game looked pretty much done and dusted. For sure, Jansen's red card gave us a little bit of hope at the end, but it was always going to be difficult given that they have Pedro Gallese and a fantastic goalkeeper. But we did fight until the end, but it was too little too late. What I want to hear you is who was your performer of the game, the best player on the pitch for you guys, and who was your disappointment of the game?
I can start.
Yeah, go ahead,
Eddie.
Victor Wanyama was the best player on the pitch.
He was excellent.
For Montreal.
Excellent, Victor.
He's been so good since the beginning of the season. In the 3 games that we played, he's been really, really good.
Yeah.
Like even when the team is poor, he shows up. He's really, really good. He's stepping up this year as of right now, and I love what I see from him. My disappointment, there's so many. There's so many, but I'm gonna say I'm gonna say Matko Miljevic.
Yeah.
For me, Matko was nowhere to be seen. He does. I don't know. I'm sure we're gonna talk about him a bit later. But
go ahead. Let's get into it now. After I listen to Yves.
I know it was a question I think from Chan who sent us the question, and I think can we show the question?
We can put it on.
If I can find it.
Screen.
Yeah, because
let's talk about Matko. Yeah, you're right, Hady. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, so man, I understand that technically he's gifted. We've seen it last year when he scored goals. Against Halifax, he scored a brace, and he is gifted in finishing. He understands a bit of he understands the game, but physically, man, he's not a football player, man. He's not a soccer player. I don't know, man. He doesn't seem fit. He seems like I don't know. He seems like a drug addict. I'm sorry, but like. I don't know. He's out of breath so early in the game. He doesn't run much. As soon as someone gets close to him, he's like he just loses the ball. He's not able to withstand any physical pressure from anyone. So I don't know. I'm really disappointed, and I hope that it's only the beginning of the season, Matko Miljevic, and we're going to see him grow into a soccer player, because right now he doesn't look like a soccer player on the pitch. He does have great technical abilities. That I see it, and it really shows. It's just that physically, he's far from being on par. Very far.
The question came from Chan. It was the experience is a bit short for conclusion, but why did the club sign Matko and pay his salary?
Yeah.
This guy never seems in game shape. That was the question. I'll jump right in. I think there you go. Yeah. So there, for people who are watching live, you can see the question. For sure, he's an American. He's got a green card, so that obviously helped the decision. But I think he's 20 years old. Yes, he commands a pretty solid salary for what he's given, but very early to judge. I think people thought about him like a replacement for Georgi Mihailovic when Mihailovic is eventually going to leave. at the moment it doesn't look like it, but players can get better, and we've seen some few examples of players that really grew since Wilfred Nancy is coach. So let's hope that that's the case for Matko. But if you ask me right now, I don't think it's that good. He just ever started. He arrived at almost the end of last season, so not a lot
Yeah.
to say so far. So.
Before you say something, Eve, if you don't mind,
No, go
I'm
ahead.
just gonna give you. I'm just gonna give you because Sam said that he's American. You know how many? Do you know how many Americans are free agents right now that we can sign and could be better than Matko Miljevic? You know, Nick DeLeon is free as air.
Nick DeLeon wouldn't be able to make a lot of trips coming back and forth.
Yeah, but still, like, you know, you do have some players that are not under contract and that could do exactly the same as Matko Miljevic is showing right now.
But you understand the idea, right? That he's young, develop, sell. You can't do that with all the free agents out there. Like, I mean, I know you only cited one name, and then unfortunately, the name you cited is not an ideal example. But what I'm saying
that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. Sorry. What I'm saying, I understand it's a project, but from what I've seen right now from Miljevic since 2021, so even at the end of last year and this year, and end of last year, we could understand because he was without contract for a while. But this year, he doesn't have that excuse. I understand that we need to develop, but if you don't want to run, you're never going to run.
Well,
and he doesn't look like someone that wants to run. If it was a young guy, look at Rida Zuhir, look at Ismail Kone, look at all those young players that are running like crazy. Yes, they make mistakes, and I don't mind. But Miljevic doesn't want to run. And that's what worries me.
Well, you know what worries me, and something that I will never be able to forgive. Turning in the wall.
Oh yeah.
I will never be able to. Yeah. That's also probably a cardinal footballing sin.
Yeah, probably the start of the end for James Pantemis on that night. Yeah.
Yeah. I know, and yeah. Anyway, we'll talk about that more in depth too.
Yeah. So yeah, that's that. Okay, so that is the talk on Miljevic. I guess Eve, who was your top performer and your, let's say, like CanFC says, the flop performer, top and flop?
Definitely Victor Wanyama for sure. He's playing like the Victor Wanyama we've all, I think, dreamed of this season.
Yeah.
He seems like a man on a mission, and he's really bossing that. You know, you see players have to foul him to win the ball back usually, and I think he's not trying to do too much, which he might have been trying to do before. He's playing, you know, relatively simple catch and release, you know, and some of his passes have great vision, but he's not trying to carry the ball as much as in past seasons, which I think is helping his game a lot. And for flop, oh god, like there's so many choices. I'm sorry, and I know we talked about it, and we want to be like, oh yeah, passion, but I gotta give it to Ramel Kyoto because you have to be wiser than that. You are in your, I believe, 12th year of professional soccer. You gotta be smarter, period. Because now, not only did you cost your team going down a man for a little while, but you are now also suspended for the following match. So it really handicaps the team on a longer term basis.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, I really like Victor Wanyama's game. I think he was excellent, but I really, really like Joaquin Torres when he came in. I think he was the top performer. Probably if he had maybe started or come in earlier, there could have been some different outcomes for Montreal.
Was he better because he came in later and Orlando's defense was likely more fatigued, and eventually as well they were down?
That's the thing. So I'm not second guessing Wilfred Nancy. He might have got it spot on and bringing him at that moment to get the best out of him, But I really, really liked his game. And for flop, like you said, there was a lot, but Um, I really think Zoran Basong was bad.
Yeah.
Was just bad, and Mustafa Kiza is gone. They never played Tarkelson yet. We're not sure if he's a center back or a left back. He's been so really Basong is the only natural left back, and he's the only left-footed left back we have. He needs to take that place, and he just doesn't do enough. I think he is limited. I think he's a good football player, but he's still limited. He's not that quick. He's not super technical, but he does defend very well. He's a solid defender, but sometimes he just gets caught in the motions of the games, and he makes some basic mistakes, and after he doesn't look too good. So I mean, I hope it gets better for Zoran Basong, but it's once
Mhm.
again
Yeah, the
lackluster
thing is,
performance for me.
he did show some good glimpses offensively. It's just
That's the
defensively
thing.
where. But that's
Yeah.
why for me, like offensively, he got a one-on-one at one point. Yes, he was signaled offside, but if the goal went in, I'm pretty sure we would have gone to VAR because I'm not really sure that it was an offside. I'm not
Hmm.
sure. I didn't see the replay, so I'm not sure if he was offside. So, but he did show some good things offensively, but yeah, defensively, he was nowhere to be seen. I completely agree with Sam.
Yeah, but I think he can get better. He's still very young, and the position is him to lose almost. I know Mathieu Chouanière and Lassie Lapalainen have been used there, but they're two midfielders who are right-footed. If Basson can get some good performances in back-to-back, this position can be his, and it could help him. It could help Wilfred Nancy because now he could use Lassie Lapalainen in more of an offensive role and Mathieu Chouanière in the center of midfield. So I really hope Zoran Basson gets his things together. And we have Romy Doralty Moriel who says, even when El Romantico plays for a national team, he seems to always be frustrated and after something. Well,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
it's his natural demeanor, right?
Even his goal celebrations look angry.
I love that. I just love that. Seriously, I
No,
love
I
that.
agree,
I
but
love this guy. I really love
no.
him.
But wait,
I
I
do
just
by
need to
and
say,
large. Today I'm a little mad.
Moriel, when you used to play, you were exactly like this. So don't point the finger too much at.
Oh, okay, okay,
I played
okay.
with Moriel. I know where he is, man. Behind Morel. Okay, guys. So I think we can move on to the Santos Laguna game, unless you
Oh,
guys had
that's
something
much
to
more
add
fun.
No, we're all good.
to.
We're all good.
Okay, Santos Laguna, guys. I just want to hear before we get into it. How did you like your night at the Bigo?
Oh my
Oh
god.
man,
15
amazing.
out of 10.
Yeah, really amazing. You know, I was sitting in the press box, and
Mhm.
at one point, I looked at other journalists. I'm not gonna name them because maybe they don't want to be named, but I look at the other journalists, and they looked at me and they're like, "Are we watching the same CF Montreal team we've been watching for the
Yeah.
past 10 years?" Uh, it's like, wow. Yes, Santos Laguna was pretty weak. I
Oh
completely understand
god.
that. But we've played so many weak teams down the years. It's the first time that we've.
Cincinnati.
It's the first time that we have such an accomplished performance. It
It was
was really
so
wow,
complete.
wow,
Oh my god.
really good, really good.
Yeah. No, it was fantastic from kickoff to the final whistle. It was like I almost want to say perfect. I mean, I could not imagine it going much better for Montreal.
Well, exactly.
Um,
If what is in your beer?
it's
Yeah.
You're too
actually
optimistic today, man.
ginger, believe it or not.
Oh,
Oh
that might
wow.
be it. That might
Yeah,
be it.
it's actually really good. Um, but yeah, no, it was. I mean, I loved everything. There was a lot of offensive spark. The defense was pretty much solid. Sebastian Breza was like, cool as a cucumber. We had some hot flashes, but we're able to keep relative cool. So no, for me, I was happy. I was really, really happy.
I had a
And-
great night. It was great. It was fun.
yeah.
And I guess we won't stick too long on the game because obviously it was on Tuesday, so a lot of ink
Mhm.
went through it since the game. But I want just how well did we really play? I mean, I was sitting there and I was like, I know Santos Laguna were horrible. It was painful to watch them play, but were they really that bad, or did we just play a
Oh
fantastic game
man,
ourselves?
no, man,
Both.
they were
Okay.
They were
U8s. They
dismal.
were U8s. Like
No,
there were
it was.
U8s on the
I
pitch
mean,
on the 11 against 11.
yeah, no,
Like,
it
it
was
bad.
really bad. I agree that it was really bad from them. And I mean, they were without a few players because of COVID and injuries. Plus, they were without their coach, and now, well, they're without a coach. Period.
Yeah.
So they were definitely, at least for the 90 minutes, kind of underdogs, I think, in this match because the circumstances really weren't with them. So I am taking the beautiful performance with a healthy grain of salt. Like I think if New England Revolution showed up, it would have been a different match. But nonetheless, I mean, it was just really enjoyable to watch, particularly knowing the history that Montreal has with Santos Laguna and that MLS teams have with Liga MX teams in general. You got to take your wins where you can get them. Sometimes the soccer gods smile on you.
Yeah,
and you have to show up, right? And they did
Mhm.
show up, and they did play a very, very good game. So you had a team that played, I think, one of their best game in the last 10 years, and you have another team. I haven't watched a lot of Santos Laguna, but it seems like another, a Santos Laguna side that maybe played their worst game ever in their worst game in the last 10 years. So that's exactly what happened. So very good Montreal side and very bad Santos Laguna side.
No, but and Montreal clearly were extremely up for it. Mentality wise, I think they were so on point. Knowing especially that Santos Laguna was rattled coming right into the game with the postponement. So, like I said, I'm going to take my wins where I can get them, even if I am taking them with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I'm on page with you guys. I think Montreal had a very, very good performance, helped by a horrible performance by Santos Laguna. Just before we move on, because we wanted to go quickly on Santos Laguna, let's talk about Ismael Kone.
Yeah.
I was surprised when I saw his name on the starting lineup. To
Same.
be fair, I was kind of expecting either Matko Miljevic because we needed a goal, so I would say maybe Victor would play deeper and we go a bit more offensive, or Rida Zouir, who had done well in Mexico. He didn't overly impress, but he had a very good, solid game for me. So I was maybe expecting Zouir. Ismael Kone came out. What did you think of his game? And I'll follow you guys. So go ahead.
Wow. I mean, he seemed ready to fill his highlight reel in one match and one match only. He definitely was. He had a lot of tricks up his sleeve. He had a lot of fancy footwork and dribbles, but he had a good eye for a pass as well. I saw people in general, comparing him to Yaya Toure, to Paul Pogba. I was like, wow, okay. And Chan evidently was also comparing him to Yaya Toure, which is an apt example given that, also Ivorian. But for me, I thought he was a revelation, honest to God. I mean, I thought he was like the second coming of Christ. He was just, he was so creative. He was fearless in a way that you don't often see in young football players. He didn't seem to be aware that this was an elimination match and that this was his very first professional match. He seemed to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to the park to play with my friends.
That's not the feeling I had, Eve, but I'll let you finish. I'm sorry, but
no, for me, I really felt like he was completely, and I'm sure this wasn't the case. I got the impression watching him on the ball that he wouldn't do anything different than if he were playing for fun. I felt like he was, really into it. And then obviously the explosion of joy when he scored. I mean, I thought almost that he was going to leave his body because he ran around and it was
And
like,
he hit the gritty too. It was awesome.
yeah. Well, I mean, like he ran all over the place. Like it kind of seemed like he didn't know what to do with himself because he was just so happy. So I was really, really, really happy to see him. He was clearly really enjoying his night.
Hady.
I was very surprised because in my head and from what I've seen from Ismail Kone, he plays in a more offensive role. So maybe as an attacking midfielder or even as a winger, more than playing at next to Victor Wanyama. And I asked the question to Wilfried Nancy at the end of the game, and his answer was like, since he joined us, he played at that position. And I think it's very interesting because you put someone that's more attacking minded, more has an attacker mind or attacking minded, play next to Wanyama. That's what we always wanted to see. It was really nice. Now he's still young. And it's normal that he's not going to have the same consistency as a veteran player. So that's why that today he wasn't that good. But yeah, he was pretty good. He was a bit lost at the beginning, but then
Yes.
he gained confidence. He grew within the game, and
Exactly,
he was
yes.
really good. And that goal that he scored just a few minutes earlier, he had an awesome chance one-on-one.
Man.
Yeah.
And he didn't play it wrong. He tried to chip the ball, and that's the good thing to do. And Acevedo was really good to parry it. So you know what? I loved his game. I just think that whenever you put too much aggressivity in the middle of the pitch, he's going to be a bit lost, and that's exactly what we've seen today against Orlando. So I hope he grows and he learns from the game today and becomes a complete player in the future. But his future looks bright. Very bright.
Oh, definitely. And I just come because I really like your comments. Eve, you said he played really loose. Hedy, you said he grew. He didn't start too well. He was lost. His first 10, 15 minutes for me, he was very, very bad. Really, he was all over the place. He was doing too much. His passes were astray, and he was caught ball watching, like out of position every time a pass would come. He was completely out. And it's as if at this point, when you're a player, you just take a second, like to refocus, and a bit like a boxer when you go back to your corner and getting beat up, and your coach said, "Listen, either you fight or throw the towel." And he said, "Okay, let's go, man." And when his kind of changed his mentality and just the pressure just came off, and he just played, because sometimes you're saying, everything I did was wrong in these first 10, 15 minutes. It can only get better. So just relax, enjoy the moment, and go play. And it looks as if he had that little moment with himself, which he gathered himself, he refocused, and he started to play, and he showed his quality. And that's very mature for a player, because sometimes in these moments you can start getting really negative on yourself and saying, you know what, am I good enough? What is Wilfried Nancy thinking? What are my teammates thinking? I'm playing next to Victor Wanyama. He's too good for me and stuff. But these things have to get out of your head, and you just say, let's play ball. And that's exactly what he did. And that's why he had a fantastic, let's say, 70 minutes after that. So I really liked his game, and I think he has quality now. Like every young player, it's consistency that's going to be the key to him becoming a very, very good professional. Guys, anything to add on either Kone or the Santos Laguna game?
No, just happy camper.
Oh, yeah, same here. So next round of the Champions League is going to be against Cruz Azul. We're starting away at the Azteca, and we're coming back to Montreal a week later. And our next MLS game is on the 5th of March at home at the Olympic Stadium against Philadelphia. Moving on, guys, we're going to talk about Sebastian Breza and James Pantemis, the situation that they're in, both of them. Because this week in a presser, were you there, Hady, when he touched that point?
Which presser you mean?
The presser in which Nancy said that Breza is his man, is the number one.
Yeah,
James
I was
Pantemis, you were there. James Pantemis is number 2.
Yeah.
And he kind of confirmed that the net is Sebastian Breza's.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot to unpack here. What do you guys think of this, and where does Pantemis go from here?
Listen, last year Pantemis was number one and Breza was number two,
Mhm.
and Breza was able to turn the tables. So I'm pretty sure
Mhm.
that Pantemis feels the same. And now I wouldn't be surprised if he has an opportunity to go and be number one elsewhere. Maybe he'll take it. That's possible. But again, I'm looking at those two. I didn't change my opinion regarding those two goalkeepers. For me, I'm Team Pantemis. I think he's a better goalkeeper, and I'm not going to change my point of view.
Eve.
Yeah. I feel first things I feel really bad for James Pantemis because
Yeah.
he, turned down a call up with the Canadian national team in a really epic window to specifically stay with Montreal and fight for that number one spot. So the fact that he was not able to, despite like taking that extra effort and that extra sacrifice, the fact that he wasn't able to win it makes me wonder if he can win it, obviously barring some really intense circumstances or a really really terrible downturn in form for Sebastian Breza, because to me when he turned on the call up by John Herdman, it said a lot about his priorities and his focus and what he
Yeah.
wanted to accomplish. So like Hady says, I think that if an opportunity were to present itself, that he would definitely, and I would, if I were him, I wouldn't blame him one bit, except to move elsewhere to be number one, like maybe Vancouver has one said. Um, but yeah, I mean Sebastian Breza, he does exude a lot of confidence in net. I will say that,
Yeah.
watching him at the Olympic Stadium, he exuded like a ton of confidence. So power to him.
Listen, sorry, just go
No, go
ahead. I'm
ahead.
sorry. Okay. There's something though. I think James Pantemis's demeanor is a bit. You can get mistaken sometimes because he might not look confident, but I think he is. And it brings me back to Patrice Bernier. You guys remember when
Yeah.
sometimes he was criticized? Like some people said that he looked a bit, sloppy and like if he didn't care. But you know that there's not a player that was more intense and caring than Patrice Bernier. Sometimes the demeanor of the player can be deceiving, and maybe that's what's happening with Pantemis. But that's not why he's not playing. I think maybe Breza has won the heart of Wilfred Nasi, and it's okay. He's the man. But if I'm Pantemis, I stay and I fight.
Mhm.
I mean, you want to play for your local club, and when you're number two, you can't just say, "Okay, I'm gonna leave, man." This, I really hope Pantemis sees this as, a mountain to climb, an opportunity to fight and win his place, and show that he's the future of this club. Because as of right now, Sebastian Breza is on loan. He's not a 100% a Montreal player. He's a Bologna player on loan in Montreal.
Mhm.
James Pantemis is Montreal's goalkeeper signed, and I hope that James Pantemis takes this opportunity to say, you know what, it's a bump in the road. It's a difficult situation
Mhm.
right now, but I'm gonna get out of it, and I'm gonna be bigger out of it because that's the thing. I feel bad for him. Yeah, for the same reason you said, if he refused the call up for John Herdman. He wanted to show he was committed to the Montreal's cause. Didn't go his way yet, but yeah, I really hope that he'll get an opportunity and he might come back stronger. That's my
Yeah.
only hope. Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we talked a lot about this
Yeah.
this situation
Yeah.
between the two,
Yeah.
but it's nice that there is clarity. I think it's
Yep.
nice. Even last year it was nice. It's just Breza's spot to lose right now. So, and today he wasn't really convincing. So let's put it this way. So let's see if the tables turn again. But as of right now, I think Breza is number one, and I don't think Nancy is going to change his mind anytime soon.
And the tables can turn because
Yeah.
Breza really got his chance last year when Pantemis got COVID and was
Mhm.
sidelined. So what happens if Breza has a slight injury? We don't
Yeah.
wish it on him, but has a slight injury, has to miss 3 games, and Pantemis does great,
Yeah.
or
No,
he
True.
gets
exactly.
suspended for a red. Anything can happen. So
Or Pentemis scores a goal in the Canadian Championship semifinal.
Well,
It can happen too.
yeah.
So my word for James is stay here and fight, my guy. If you're able to win it back, it's gonna be all on your all on your honor. So I hope he can
Mhm.
do it though. So that's it. Moving on, there's a situation that's a bit similar to James Pantemis's, and it's Zachary Broguillard,
Mm.
who since the start of the year has barely featured. And my feeling is that Wilfred Nancy doesn't really trust the Canadian international that much. Is it the case? What's up with Zachary Bogia right now?
You know what? I think that I was talking with my friend Alex Gange Rizik that I was able to see for the first time
Big guy,
on
big guy.
Tuesday. Amazing guy, really. And if you don't follow him, go follow him on Twitter because amazing content, amazing person, really an amazing guy. So I was talking with him, and he was like, "Why doesn't he play ZBG?" And my answer to him was like, we're playing with
I don't know.
wingbacks, and those wingbacks need to be good either at crossing, at creating chances, at scoring, at something. And unfortunately, Zachary Bourrière has pace, but he doesn't have anything else. Anytime he needs to cross the ball, the crosses are really bad. Anytime he
Oh yeah.
needs to score, yes, he did score a couple of goals last year, but that was like maybe in a
I
couple
think
of
one of the
weeks
goals
he had.
was a cross, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, one of the goal was a cross and the other one deflected off a defender
Exactly.
and went
Exactly.
in.
So what I mean is, unfortunately, he's not efficient enough in the final third for him to be
Mhm.
in that position. If you look at Mathieu Chouanière, I'm sorry, he already has an assist. He's created a lot of chances. He even was that close to score a
Oh,
volley,
wow.
Mhm.
like a couple of centimeters close. And Lassie Lapalainen, we all know what he's able to do in the final third. Yes, he's a one-trick pony and everything, but he's someone that usually scores goals or gives assists. So,
Mhm.
you look at the choices that he has, and in that, in that system, I think that Zachary Bourrière needs to be more efficient offensively in order to get a spot in the starting 11. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, he had very few assists certainly on goals last year. I know that we had talked about it in our end of the season
Yeah.
breakdown, and I think it was 3, if I'm not mistaken. I know that he and Mathieu Chouanière, they had 2 and 3 respectively, and I don't quite remember which was which, but let's face it, it's both really bad numbers.
Yeah.
So I agree with Hady's take that probably in the offensive third, sometimes he can beat his man on the dribble, which is something. But then once you get down there, you have to be able to get the ball to a teammate if you're not planning to take a shot on yourself. And last year as well, we saw some really kind of confusing decision making with him when it came to that final third, where sometimes he was shooting when there was a man wide open, or he was crossing when the ball
Exactly.
or playing a safe ball. So it's the decision making more so than the technique that kind of made me suspect.
Yeah. And now the problem is with Alistair Johnston. Zachary Bourriard doesn't have anything that Alistair Johnston doesn't have. So if Nancy is comfortable with his center backs and he's happy to play Alistair Johnston at right wing back, I don't think Zachary Bourriard is going to see the field a lot. And Wilfred Nancy seems to think that Mathieu Chouanière is a right wing back too. And there's nothing that Zachary Bourriard has that Mathieu Chouanière doesn't have either. So now it's becoming very difficult for Zachary Bourriard to get himself in the squad, and it's a shame because he kind of went really strong at the start of his career and was showing a lot of promise and kind of plateaued and didn't really pick it up since. So yeah, what's next for Zachary Bourriard? It's difficult, really difficult to put a finger on it.
Yeah.
Well, hope for the best, but it doesn't look too good for him at the moment. And when you lose I can't say it, but it seems like it. When you lose the trust of your manager, it's very, very difficult.
Oh, but Nasi already showed that he's able to give a chance to a player if he impresses. So if Zachary Bourriard looks himself in the mirror and works on his capabilities in the final third, I'm pretty sure he's going to be able to gain Nancy's trust again. And knowing Nancy, he does a lot of turnover. So he's going to have his chance. But look, against Santos Laguna, against the weak side, at one point he's alone in the box. And his cross is like a pass to the defender. Like, you're not helping yourself, man. Like,
no,
you know,
I know, man.
He needs to be better. He needs to be better.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll see, but it doesn't look too good at the moment. But a player in which it does look very good is Mathieu Choignard, who this week prolonged his contract with Montreal, 2+1. So he's prolonged 2023, 2024, and has an option for 2025. Mathieu Choignard joined the academy back in 2011. He struggled at the start of his professional career with some bad injuries, and even at some point, some fans thought his career was over in Montreal, but he took every opportunity given to him. And now he's a very important piece of the team, a great resilience and perseverance story, Mathieu Choignard. How good a news is this that he's staying put in Montreal?
I think it's great.
Go ahead, Eve. Go ahead.
No, it's a story I really like. You know, he made a big comeback from injury. We know that was something that had dogged his brother as well. You know, David Choignard. And so seeing that Mathieu was able to come back from those injuries, come back stronger. I thought physically last season he looked like a new person. Like he had put on, 20 pounds in muscle or something.
On weight, yeah.
No, yeah, exactly. Like putting on good weight. I'm not familiar with that concept myself, but I try. Yeah, but you know, he was a lot more able to sustain the physicality of the league, which was something that I think had also plagued him. You know, just going one-on-one with challenges, he would get knocked down like a little fly swatted away. Between that and the injuries, it was really hard for him. But he's been versatile. He stepped up to whatever has been asked of him, whether he plays in the middle, whether he plays left wing back or right wing back. So his versatility has definitely been clutch for Montreal, especially when, you know, they were getting hit with injuries or they had lots of call-ups and whatnot. So all I can say is I think it's a lot of hard work that was rewarded. So good for him.
I wanted to say something. At one point, I was writing an article on Forge FC in 2020, and you know, I wasn't able to unfortunately to really talk about what happened in the interview with David Choignard, his brother. And at one point, I asked him off the record, "What's going on with Mathieu? Is he okay? I know he's injured and everything." And his answer was like, "I'm not sure. It's not going well. We're looking at all avenues, and it's really possible that his career is over."
Was that the concussion that he got that sidelined him for like almost a year?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And the doctors weren't really optimistic. It was very hard on the whole family, on the whole Choignard family. So, you know, to see him now get to where he is right now, it's amazing. And you know what? It shows the perseverance of a player like that, a player from Montreal, someone that breathes CF Montreal and have been with the club since 2011. I love it. I really love it. And you know what? If I'm John Herdman, Mathieu Choignard should definitely have a call-up. Definitely. Because seeing ZBG get a call-up in the last time around, for me, you can't call ZBG and ignore Mathieu Choignard anymore. No, that's not what you want. So for me, I hope that, and don't forget that Mathieu Choignard was already selected at one point with the Canadian national team in 2018. He didn't play any games, but he was selected. He was brought into camp, I think a January camp, if I'm not mistaken, in 2018. So he knows the program. He knows this national team program. And if he continues that way, 2021 was a great season for him. And 2022 is looking great as of right now in the first 3 games that he played. So if he continues that way, I don't see how John Herdman can ignore him anymore.
Yeah, and it's a great story for the academy too, because when you need to see your academy players sign second, third, fourth contracts with the team, and we didn't see that a lot. Of course,
No,
there was Anthony Jackson ML, but let's
I
face it,
don't know how.
yeah, and he had maybe one decent
Decent.
season.
Mm.
That's the 2017, if I'm not mistaken, with Mauro Biello. The rest, not so. To see Mathieu Chouanière rewarded with contracts and playing time, that's the most important, and some quality playing time. Yeah, it's a great news, and for
Mhm.
Mathieu Chouanière, who probably could have had his career ended with an injury, to see him perform at that level now and fearless,
Mhm.
because that's what happened when you get these long-term injuries with non-stop and like drooling rehab. Sometimes you can get a bit fearless, sorry, a bit nervous, and you play with fear. But Mathieu Chouinard put that behind him, and he's just going right forward. So that's great, man. It's a great story, and I'm really, really happy for him.
Talking about the Canadian national team, guys, Marco
Mhm.
Terahuro, that a big listener of the pod that's always
Hi,
here, I
Marco.
think every week.
Mhm.
He says, "I hope Kone will choose Canada over Ivory Coast. Remember when Balou was hesitating between both?
Oh, the
Yeah, Balou
world.
was hesitating. He chose Canada, and I don't think we really want him right now. He signed with Atletico Ottawa, by the
Yeah.
way,
Mhm.
Balou. Huh? But yeah, I think we're far from being from yeah. We're far from the national team for Kone. But yeah, I hope that at one point he does choose Canada if he continues on progressing. But
Yeah.
right now, in the middle of the pitch, I think we have a
It's
lot of
so
options
deep.
right
It's not
now.
even
Exactly,
funny. Yeah.
exactly.
Cool, guys. So that's the talk for Mathieu Chouinard. Anything to add, guys?
No. Keep on keeping
Moving
on.
on, we had for me it was a bit of sad news this week. The Ultras put out a statement saying that they would not be at the Santos Laguna game nor at any future game, and they stated that they cannot accept the unacceptable, being the suppression of the identity and the erasing of the history of the club. They finished the statement saying that they are profoundly disappointed by the attitude of the board towards them and the supporters, and that many more projects are to come. Guys, I know everyone has an opinion on that, and the range is very, very large, when it comes to the ultras. I just want to hear you guys on this situation, and I'll I'll hit you first, Steve. You're
Mhm.
in a supporters group with the
Mhm.
127. So how did you see the ultras situation, who are not too far from you in 132 at the stadium?
Yeah. So that their loss last season was definitely really felt at my end of the stadium in 127. The ultras are obviously the supporters group who we could hear best and with whom we would typically join in because they're right there. We do some calling back and forth to each other, and
Yeah.
we lost that. For me, it's really sad to see it and the way it has. I don't think it was ever any secret that the relationship between the ultras and Montreal's board and ownership and whatnot um, was not fantastic for quite some time. Uh, One thing I will say is I'm really sad that it's ending the way it has, particularly for the players and for people who come to the stadium because they were a massive part of the ambiance. I think 1642 and 127 as well have really big shoes to fill to make the stadium imposing and vibrant. And props to them for sticking to their principles at the end of the day. They said from the get-go that they insisted on a return to the impact, and Montreal has made it pretty clear that's probably not on the cards, certainly in the near future. So for me, it's a natural but really unfortunate ending. I'm sorry to see them go. But we'll see we'll see what happens with Montreal football supporter culture now in their absence, how it evolves.
It's very very hard for me to talk about this subject because I have friends on both sides right now. So on the ultra side and on the club side, So it's very very hard for me. So I'm gonna try to give you exactly my point of view on this situation. It's a pity that nobody's really putting, uh, you know, nobody's really trying to really fix the situation. I think both sides are camped on their positions,
Mhm.
and I think that there is maybe a compromise that could be reached if if each side was a bit more lenient. And I'm talking about both sides. I think that both sides are being really, yeah,
Stubborn.
really difficult. Yeah, difficult and stubborn. Exactly. So I don't know. I don't know. I've heard so much things from both sides. One side saying, "Ah, yeah, but we proposed this and I didn't want to," and the other one saying, "Ah, we proposed this and I didn't want to." So I don't know. At the end of the day, it's sad because the ones that really are gonna have to live through that are ourselves, are the other
Yeah.
fans that are not a part of the ultras, are the average Joe that comes to Sapporo twice a year, that goes and try to get the ambience and the atmosphere within the stadium, that is not going to live the same kind of vibe. It's not going to have the same kind of vibe as he used to have. So
Mhm.
that's the people that really are losing the most, are losing are really losing their ambiance and their money. So
Mhm.
I don't know. It's very hard. It's very hard. But I think at one point, if a relationship, if nobody wants, like, if you're in a relationship and both sides are not willing to get to a compromise, then unfortunately the relationship has to
Yeah.
end, and it is what it is. You have to
Mhm.
move on,
Yeah, you're
and
right, Eddie. It's sad
yeah,
though. It's so sad, and you know, one thing I want to say is, some people have been going hard on them, and the ultras, they have their style, but
yeah,
I mean, I don't really have a take on this particular situation because I there's so many details that we're unaware of,
Mhm.
that the ultras don't
yeah,
w- will keep for themselves, that the club will keep for themselves, and it's all right. That's all good. But the end game is that the situation is a real shame. And but I want to say one thing. I've never been an active member of the COF, but I've traveled to Toronto with them. I've been to Saprissa with them, and I've brought my girlfriend, my brother, my friends on numerous
Mhm.
occasions in the cup for home games at Saputo. I have season tickets in 125, but often I'd move to the cup just for the ambience when we really wanted to get into it. And the only thing we've received is like friendship, love, some great people that are like,
yeah,
I just want to give a personal story. I went once
Mhm.
with Paul Vance to Toronto. He was going in the press box in Toronto. I went in the ultra the visitor
Mhm.
section, which was maybe 80% ultras, and they were the ones who were calling the songs and stuff. And 2 minutes after I step foot in there, everyone was talking to me. Everyone was
Mhm.
friendly. Everyone was nice. And so, what I want to say is, I just want to give them some love because that's the only
yeah,
thing that I've received from them, and I've had some of my best nights of my life soccer wise with them, and I just wanted to say thanks for the memories. It was fantastic years, great years, and I hope that they'll be back one day. But
yeah,
I can
and
respect their willingness to stay close to their principles as well, like Yves said.
exactly. We respect their decision, of course, and we
Absolutely, one
understand
hundred
their
Mhm.
percent.
decision, and again, not taking any side, but yeah, it's just a pity that this is happening.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, it's a real shame.
Mhm.
Guys, moving on. The experts, MLS experts, put out their predictions for the year, much more positive than last year. Do we have the the little printout
Yeah,
or?
just give me 2 seconds.
Okay,
I'll
I'll read
get
them
it.
out while Hady puts them on the
Okay.
screen. Charles Bowen puts us eighth in the East. Tom Bogert sixth. Matt Doyle fifth. David Gass sixth. Sam Jones sixth. Joe Lowery fourth. Greg Seltzer 12th. Okay, and
Oh my god.
Andrew Weeby
Okay.
eighth. Last year it was 13 and 14. So for those who are watching on the live stream, you have it on the screen at the moment, so you can just soak it in. Um,
There's so many new experts
yeah,
Yeah.
like Sam
but
Jones is the one that wrote the girlfriend stuff last year. So yeah.
okay.
Girlfriend stuff?
Yeah, you remember he said it's like you don't remember what he wrote at the beginning of the season in 2021? He's like it's like your best friend's girlfriend is trying to hook up with you. Ex-girlfriend is trying to hook up with you, but you don't really like. And he wrote like a big thing, and he's like, yeah, but I don't
Lord.
like ex-girlfriend, so he's there gonna be 14th or something like that. So yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it was very weird, very very weird. So
Okay.
yeah, so he says 6 in the East. So yeah, good.
So he's changed his opinion on girlfriends.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's I look at the predictions and I'm
like,
a bit
what are you
shocked.
drinking? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a bit shocked because I understand that everybody was surprised by CF Montreal last year, and we were all surprised. I think they deserved to be in a playoff last year. But this year, I'm looking at the predictions and I'm like, how? How did you go from 14th
five
to
out of
6th?
8? Yeah, 5 out of 8 are putting us in the playoffs now.
What is the logic, man?
No.
What is their logic? They're based on what? You know, I don't know. Good for us. I mean,
Yeah.
you know.
Thank you for paying attention, throwing us a bone.
I really take that with a pinch of salt. You know, that's
big time.
Listen, these men. I know most of them. It's their full-time job, and they're committed to the league. But you can't track almost 30 teams. You know, it's almost impossible. So these things are a bit. I think it's a bit out in the air. And look, we have from 4 to 12. What's up with that? You know, so,
it's a crapshoot.
But something that is more important to me, guys, is what are your predictions? Because you guys follow the club all year, and you follow, most importantly, the Eastern Conference all year. So where do you see us this year, Finch?
Want to start, Eve, or do I start?
You go ahead.
And I'm gonna note them, guys. So
bless your heart, Sam.
You can't forget it because I got it.
Nobody forgot what we said last year.
Well, I forgot it. So
one of us was bang on.
Yeah,
Eve, you were right.
Whatever. Yeah, Eve. Yeah, whatever.
I like being right.
You like me, but you know what? If we had won that game against Orlando, we would have been 5th. So, exactly. Like, you know,
I don't care. Right is right.
It's just we were 10th, but like, yeah. Whatever. I'm not that optimistic this year. I'm gonna surprise you, and I'm really not that optimistic. I think that we need quality in the squad that we are missing. I think we lost a bit of depth that we had last year. I'm not at all convinced by Lassi Lapalainen as left wing back. I'm not at all convinced with Matko Miljevic being someone that has maybe a greater role this year than last year. I haven't seen Terkelson play yet, and it seems that he's still not ready.
Oh, I forgot he existed.
Yeah, exactly. Whoops. He was on the bench today.
Yes, he was, but I forgot he existed.
I'm still not convinced with Breza between the sticks. That's my opinion. So for me, I would say we talked Maxime Cardinal and me, and then we had our normal bet, our annual bet, and I said we're going to be between 8th and 9th this year, so just outside the playoff race, playoff spots. Sorry, within the playoff race, of course, but I think we're going to fall a bit short this year because unless we have. Don't forget, it's the 27th of February, and the transfer window is still open until May. So if we have a trade or anything, that might change, of course. But as of today, with the squad that we have, between 8th and 9th in the East.
Eve?
Alrighty. So my opinion is that a lot of the competition in the East has added a lot of quality, and or has quality incoming, signed and maybe arriving later.
Toronto, yeah.
Yeah, I was not naming names. I'm not naming any names. I definitely think, looking at what I saw yesterday from, Cincinnati, unfortunately, it looks like they're in for another rough year. Charlotte, obviously, they've had their team building just absolutely train wrecked by bad luck. um, Chicago might be putting something together, but it seems like they've got a bigger project going on. But when I look at the Orlandos, the Columbuses, the Atlantas, some arseholes directly to the
NYC.
west, exactly, Philadelphia, NYC, I'm like, no, all those teams are going to be in front of Montreal, as long as they can keep their squad healthy. And as well, a lot of those teams have really strong depth. For me, I will firmly place Montreal between 10th and 11th.
Oh wow! How, like, if I had said 12th, you would have said 14th, right?
No. I was thinking about this. I really was. I was thinking about this a lot. And like you said, things can change, with a transfer window. So I might be proven wrong, and we might go gangbusters this summer. But for me, I definitely think, in terms of quality and as well, given that they have consistent coaching, just like Montreal does, I think there are easily 8 teams in front of Montreal, quality wise, and I think the other teams just hovering around the same spot as Montreal, like maybe a Miami or a Chicago. I think they have more room to inject funds and inject bodies than Montreal does right now, because I think Montreal is probably running real close to maxing out the salary cap.
Yeah, I know, Sam, you want to give your prediction, but for me, Miami and Chicago, not in the same at all. Not in the same.
Well, Miami kept a clean sheet yesterday now.
Good.
Yeah, against Chicago. I watched the game, and I think we're better than both these teams. Yeah.
I don't know, man.
But still,
big stepped you up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. When you get Jordan Shaqiri from Lyon, as your star player, when he's clearly a has-been, even if he is a great player.
Now, just Hady, I hope Seb Grenier, who usually listens to us, is not connected right now, because he loves Shaqiri, man.
Yeah.
I think he was. He commented a bit earlier, so I don't know if he's going to comment on that.
He loves Shaqiri.
Yeah, but Shaqiri is not, I watch Ligue 1 religiously, as you guys know, and I'm telling you that he was. Yes, he beat Marseille. He scored a goal against Marseille, but yeah, you can ask any Lyon supporter. They were like,
no, but
there he is.
No. But I'm saying that though.
Sebastian's saying hello, so he is listening to us.
No, what I'm saying.
He's bitching on Shaqiri, Seb, man.
No, my point with Miami and Chicago, for those are 2 examples that I threw out, is that they have I think they have the financial firepower to bring in more talent if they find themselves in a precarious position than what Montreal has. That was my point. I'm not saying Jordan Shaqiri is going to tear up the league and dominate and be Golden Boot and MVP and somehow goalkeeper of the year as well.
He's going to be dominatrix and spank us, right?
Actually, if Montreal goes to Chicago in those depressing gray kits, probably.
Your predictions.
Well, you remember, I think a month ago-ish, we went for our way too early predictions of the year, and I said that Champions League success would handicap our start of a season, and that would make us miss the playoff by not a lot. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. We're going to finish 8th, and so far I'm right. We're doing well in the Champions League, and we lost our first game of the season. I know it's really too little. Too little to say, but I'm keeping my word. So I think we're gonna finish 8th and just miss out the players, like maybe goal difference or a point or 2. And but I think that, and the reason why, I'm just gonna say, if we have a full squad without injuries, I think we really can compete for these last playoff spots. But we've seen it. Look, we lost Ahmed Hamdi, Sam Piet, Mason Toy, and
We're
Kyoto is
already going to
missing
be
2
without
games
Ramel
now.
Kyoto for a
Kyoto
match.
is missing. So it's tough, man. Every time we need to go a bit deeper down the depth chart, it's difficult. And look, you saw it today. Zoran Basson, Matko Miljevic, difficult games, man. And we always need our best players on the pitch to be
Yeah.
very, very competitive.
Yeah.
So I think because of the Champions League, because of the long season, because of the Canadian Championship and our difficult depth situation, we're going to miss out by a hair. And Moriel says, I think that Montreal will finish 6th or 7th. Montreal has one of the best defense. We need a real 9 in front, man. Couldn't sue.
Yeah.
Guys, right?
I just want to add just a few comments about people writing to us, because a lot of MLS people that really watch MLS. Chan is saying Atlanta and New York City FC and the Revs are going to be in the first 3 spots in the East. The rest will be a dogfight for 4th to 7. That's what we've seen last year. I think, most probably it's going to be the same thing this year. So it's very hard to predict who's going to be between the 4th and the 7th position. And yes, the top 3, I think it's going to be between Atlanta, New York City FC, and the Revs. Maybe Philadelphia also can come and play a role there. Also, there's Tamis that said Mansueto is ready to spend. That's the owner of Chicago. But he said Chicago is still very bad. So,
he's right,
so
man.
just a few MLS comments here. I like that because it shows that here in Montreal we do follow our team, but we're trying to also follow the rest of the league, and that's how you become a good MLS.
Yeah.
You have a good MLS
Connoisseur.
Knowledge, right? And connoisseur, exactly. So yeah, keep on. We do watch games from time to time of MLS, so keep on commenting on other teams, and of course we'll always react if you have any reactions. So yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So, guys, I give you a figurative $100 because I'm not that rich to give it to you. And you have to put some bets out of what Loto Quebec put out this year for Montreal. And you have it on the screen for people who are watching. I'll go through it. They did over-under for 5 offensive players of Montreal. So the concept of over-under is they give a number of goals. Like Romel Kyoto, they put 9.5. So if you think he's going to score more than 9.5, the odd is 1.75 times the money you put. And if he's going to score less, it's 1.95. And they go down with Torres, Camara, Ibrahim, and Mihailovic. So the over-under for Kyoto is 9.5 goals this year. Torres, 6.5. Kai Camara, 5.5. Sunusi, 4.5. And Mihailovic, 4.5. So I want to know, guys, you have to put $100 that I figuratively give you on these 5 players. Who do you go over? Who do you go under? And I'll start with you, Eve. And I think I'm writing it down so you can't.
Oh, for the love of God, Sam. You are like just immortalizing. Okay. All these hot takes.
Eve, who do you go over their goals by Loto Quebec, and who do you go under? I'll just say it again for the people who are not seeing the screen. Kyoto 9.5, Torres 6.5, Camara 5.5, Sunusi 4.5, and Mihailovic 4.5.
And we're talking about goals, just
goals. Yes, absolutely.
Goals. Yep,
just goals.
Okay, I will put over for Georgi Mihailovic and under for all the rest.
Eve, you're stealing my thunder, man. That's
So-
exactly what I
so-
wanted to say.
Okay,
I hate you, man.
Great
I hate
minds-
you. But you know what? I'm
But
going to
you know
try
what
to
you
be
could
different.
Say? You know what you could say? Great minds think alike.
Yeah, but no.
Okay, fine.
I'm joking. No, let's have fun. And I'm Risky Hattie's here. Risky Hattie or Gambling
Oh,
Hattie.
boy.
Let's go, man.
Gambling Hattie is here. So the only thing that I would change, I would say that Ibrahim is going to score more than 4.5 goals.
So, Hady, you have over for Georgie and Sunusi and
Sunusi.
under for the others.
Yes, under 5.5 for Camara, under 6.5 for Torres, and under 9.5 for Kyoto. But that's okay. We have to specify that's only MLS, right? Don't forget.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's for the
we
MLS
don't count the
goals, yeah.
Champions League.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Okay.
No, that's really for MLS. Thank you for saying it, Hedy.
Yeah.
I'm going over for. I'm going under for Kyoto, over for Torres,
Oh wow.
under for Camara, under for Sunusi, and over for Mihailovic. So I've got
Wow.
Got a little
over
pattern.
for Torres and Mihailovic, and I've got under for the others.
For you, he's gonna score 7 goals in MLS, Torres. At least
I think
7
so. Yeah,
goals.
I think so.
Oh wow.
Boy.
Yeah.
Oh wow. We're making the playoffs. See, if he does score 7 goals, I think we make the playoffs. So that's great. That's great.
So I'll keep that noted, and I'm just gonna see. We've got one comment. Chan, you can put it on the screen. He says all under for me, so it's pessimistic Chan and not pessimistic Eve today.
Yeah, he's a friend of Eve's, right? So it's
Yeah.
normal. It's normal.
So I can't wait, guys. Well, it's gonna be a long season, but it's gonna be fun to keep an eye on these stats. We'll move on quickly to the women national team. We finished second in the Arnold Clark Cup, and tough loss against Spain at the very end of the tournament, because we would have won the tournament, I think, with a draw, if I'm not mistaken. We would have won it, yeah. So what I would like to ask you guys is, we won't go through it because we talked a lot about it on the last episode with Eve. These friendly tournaments are a long learning process, are very important for these national teams. What I want to hear is what have we learned on the team during this competition? Maybe tactically, maybe overall mentality, maybe individually for players. So I just want to hear you guys what you learned on this women national team during the tournament. And I'll start with you, Hady.
Listen, we played a lot of times. We've heard people say that the Canadian national team only plays against a lot of weaker teams. Yeah. They play in the CONCACAF region, where it's only the US and Canada that have a program that, in history have had a good program for the women's. Yes, of course, recently we've seen Chile and we've seen Mexico get a better program. Yes, but yeah, in the CONCACAF region, only Mexico was like average, and the rest, it was only Canada and the US. And now we're starting to get those big games. We're starting to play against those big teams. And we're doing really well. A 1-1 draw against England, a win against Germany, who's a powerhouse in women's soccer, and a loss against Spain that, for people that have been watching the women's soccer in the past 10 years, they would look at, and maybe lost touch in the last couple of years, they would look at Spain and say, they don't have a good women's program. But Spain is a great team right now.
No, they've invested super heavily.
Yeah, Spain is on a 16-game winning streak, during which they outscored their opposition 96-0.
Wow.
96-0. So, they're that good. So losing only 1-0 against Spain, with, I think, the Ballon d'Or winner, Petrella, scoring the goal. She was the Ballon d'Or winner this year. So, she hit the woodwork too. But still, looking at the team of Canada, there's progression. There's a lot of progression. And I was at a presser with Bev Priestman, and she said something really interesting. She said, I can walk away from this game very happy with the second half and a poor first half, but that's credit to Spain. So, you know what? They were able to adapt to a very strong opponent and get better in the second half. And we've rarely seen that in the past from the Canadian national team. When they were dominated by another team, they were until the end of the game. And that's not what we've seen during that tournament and during that last game against Spain.
Really interesting, Hady, man. Eve.
I learned that I want to see a lot more of Chloe Lacasse. I really liked the way that she harried the defenders, against whether it was she had started or come off the bench. I really liked Chloe Lacasse. She hasn't gotten a lot of caps despite the fact that she's 28 years old. But for me, she's a revelation in the team. I think we've got to confirm now that Jessie Fleming, obviously she's incredibly talented, but she's definitely a leader on the team. And I think the women's national team, their performances, the sun will rise and set largely on Jessie Fleming's form on the day. She's as is Quinn. For me, that midfield is Quinn's right now to lose. I like no. Sorry, Sophie Schmidt, your time is done. Julia will eventually compete a little bit more for that as she gets more pro time under her boots. But for me, you cannot dislodge Quinn. Period. Never, ever, ever. And likewise, I'm thrilled to see that Kaylin Sheridan has gotten to get some consecutive games in and has gotten to show a lot more of that confidence that we see in NWSL performance, because I thought her first game versus England, she started a little bit shaky but grew into it, and in the successive matches I thought she really owned her box and communicated well with the defenders. So I feel like the page is turning on a generation of players, but I'm really excited that it doesn't seem like there's a massive gulf in the players coming in behind.
Yeah. I completely agree with completely agree.
I learned two things. The first one is that Vanessa Gilles is for real. Some people might have said, she was carrying a good mojo during the Olympics, but she proved that she's the real deal, and she's probably gonna partner Kadisha Buchanan in the center of that backline. Incredibly sad for Shelina Zadorsky, because she's so good, but she just can't get into the squad if Gilles is playing at this level, and we go with a back four with two center backs, obviously. So Vanessa Gilles is the real deal, and that Jessie Fleming is most definitely captain material. So that's what this tournament taught me, and it was a very, very entertaining tournament. Some very, very good football. I loved every minute. I didn't see the Spain game, unfortunately. I wasn't able to because I worked night shifts and it was in the morning, if I'm not mistaken. But the rest of the games, I watched them, and it was really, really entertaining, really quality. So yeah, I loved it.
I just want to talk about Chan's comment. He learned that we can shut down any team with our defense with Rivière, Gilles, Buchanan, Lawrence, and Fleming should be next captain.
Chan,
Fleming should be next captain. I hope so. I just also want to say that we've seen players that we're not used to see during the Arnold Clark Cup. Yes, right. But don't forget, guys, we also have a Canadian under-20 team that's right now playing in the CONCACAF tournament.
Literally right now.
Yeah, as we speak.
As we speak, in the second game also. The first game they won against St. Kitts and Nevis 7-0. Right now they're playing against El Salvador. And you look at that team and you have some players that were called up at one point with the Canadian national team, like the first team, like Jade Rose, like Olivia Smith, like at one point Kayla Novak that was called also. So, it's interesting. We do have other player, and I think my favorite one is Viviane Bessette, who's a Quebecer that plays at the same university that Evelyn Vian used to play. So it's very interesting. She's a defender. So that's very interesting. We do have some good players also coming from the youth ranks with the Canadian national team, the U20. So interesting, very interesting for the Canadian soccer, women's soccer.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So anything to add, guys, on the Arnold Clark Cup?
No, I think we're good.
We're good. No. Perfect. So it's time for part 2 of the show. And Eve, who was the absolute stars of social media this week?
Right on. I'll get us started here. So first things first, we do have something from Alain at J'aime le soccer. Friend of the pod, of course. He says, "Hey, TBIR Montreal. 1, I was good today. Mostly avoided the creation of negative content.
Yeah.
We love you and your feelings, Alain. We love you and your feelings. All your feelings. Number 2, he'd like to know, for today's show, what about our play did you like the most today? Meaning the match versus Orlando. And to contrast, what is the biggest cause for concern following this 2-0 loss? So I know we talked specifically about players, but what about, the cause for concern and as well kind of in the play itself?
I already said lack of depth within the squad.
Yeah.
It's not really in the play, but I feel that it affects our play because the players that are on the bench are not as good. I don't think we can have Messi on the bench. That's not what I'm asking. But I think we can have similar players with different roles, and we don't. So I think we have some players that are a bit too weak within that squad. So that's the main concern. What did I like today is the never give up mentality. Never give up mentality is everything in modern soccer. We've seen so many remontadas. We've seen so many good things that happen to teams that don't give up. So yeah, let's keep that. And maybe at one point, some players will get better and we'll reach our objectives.
Yeah. Sam?
For the positive, I'm exactly with Hady. That's what I like the most is we didn't have a very good overall performance, but the attitude was very good, and mostly at the end, for sure, Jansen's red card gave us a little boost at the end, but I didn't think we needed that incident to grow. I think that the players were ready to do it. What I don't like is that when the player next to Victor Wanyama isn't having a big game and isn't moving freely and isn't really moving the ball as freely as he should, like Ismail Kone and Rida Zouir were doing today, they didn't really have good games. Georgi Mihailovic is too easy to mark. So when the opposition is able to sense that there won't be an attacking build-up from another player than Georgi Mihailovic, they can really concentrate on closing him down. And you could see Orlando almost not even care when Miljevic had the ball. It's as if they conceded the ball to Miljevic as long as Mihailovic was marked closely. So, and if you go back to the Santos Laguna game, Ismail Kone benefited for that a lot because they were looking closely at Mihailovic, but Kone was having such a good game and was attacking and was very positive with the ball. So they kind of had to move their focus a bit to Kone too, opening up spaces for Mihailovic. So if a player like Miljevic isn't able to do that, Mihailovic is too easy to mark, and it's nothing against Mihailovic. It's just that at some point when you have 2 or 3 players on you, it's normal you can't do anything. Even Piatti couldn't do it. So I think you need someone in midfield other than Mihailovic to have a very positive offensive role. And when they're unable to do so, well, Mihailovic is a non-factor.
Right on. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome.
Alrighty. Next up, we have Mihailovic mentality at Foot Club fan. So thankfully, Mihailovic mentality comes at us with some optimism. Says, Get the only loss of the season out of the way early. Smart. 33-1-0 season loading. So I wanted to share this one with you guys specifically for our friendly neighborhood optimist. What do you think? I like it.
That.
You know?
I like that. You know what? You have to be optimistic when you root for a club, or else you just stop being a supporter, right?
Well,
if you lose hope, you're not a supporter anymore. I've lived so many dark years with Montreal and with Marseille that I can tell you that if you're not an optimistic, you cannot be a football club fan. So yeah, you have to be optimistic. Now you're a bit too optimistic.
I was gonna say there's a fine line.
Like, I don't understand how Eve is a fan if she's always pessimistic. Unless you like being pessimistic. I don't know, man.
Well,
all I talk about spanking, you never know.
I think I'm not 100% with you, Eddie, when you say that if you're not, sometimes you're a bit negative, you're not 100% a fan. I think you
Not
can have
sometimes.
a
If you're always
no,
negative,
yeah,
that's what.
always. Oh,
Yeah,
no, no,
that's
no,
what
no,
I
no.
meant.
But I mean,
Sorry.
there can be a healthy dose of pessimism.
Of
Mhm.
course, of course.
But I like this guy, man. If I'm sad one day, I'll just call him, man. I'll feel much better right after. So just give me your number, man.
Excellent, excellent. Alrighty. We have Emile Archambault, who said Kyoto is supremely annoying in that he does those dumb hits quite often, like referring obviously to the red card today, but also mystifying in that he never goes for the run of the mill headbutt, hands to the face, etc. It's always something dumb and weird.
He's
With the
right.
example, yeah, there was an elbow swing behind the head a few years back as another example he cited. So yeah,
Yeah,
you
he's
know,
right.
He's
I
right,
was
man.
like, I know I hadn't thought of it, but I was like, yeah, Kyoto's red cards are like extra dumb somehow.
Yeah, he headbutted like a weird headbutt to Mark McKenzie of
Yeah,
Philadelphia like 2 years
Yeah,
Philadelphia.
ago. I think.
You're
Yeah,
right.
you're
You're
right.
right.
yeah.
It's just like he tries to control himself, so he has like weird
Yeah, it's like
Like
reactions
awkward.
because
spasms.
he's like yeah, exactly. He's like controlling himself, but it's like too much for him. So
Oh my god,
But he's
poor
right,
guy.
man. But
Yeah,
Emile
no.
Archambault is a really interesting guy to follow on Twitter.
Yeah,
He talks a
yeah,
lot about refereeing. I think he's a
yeah.
referee in Quebec, and
yeah.
he tweets a lot about refereeing. So that for anyone who is interested,
He's an
he's a
expert
cool
in
guy.
refereeing, guys. Really an
Yeah,
Yeah.
expert.
yeah.
So
No.
yeah, but he's right, man. He's
Mhm.
100% right.
No, exactly. And I found it funny when I came across it. I was like, that's so right.
There was an old clip that was always everywhere on YouTube. Like I think it was in the 90s. There was a player who was on the floor, and the other player, it was a Croatian player, I think, and
Mhm.
the other player went over him just to say something to him, and he like kind of spasm, like you said, like just grabbed the player's balls,
Mhm.
and he's like, "Oh shit, what
Oh
did I
my
do?"
god,
And he got
no!
a red card right off of it. But that's the thing you
Oh no,
hope
what kind of
Kyoto will never
spasm?
do. But that, yeah, but that looks a bit like what he's talking about.
No.
So it's easy to find on YouTube if someone's looking for
Okay.
it.
Alrighty. Next up, we have Markham, who says, so this is following, obviously, the news that Cruz Azul would be the next competition for Montreal in Champions League. Markham says, CONCACAF games continue being more exciting than any MLS game. Any MLS game. Agree or disagree?
No, I disagree.
Oh.
I completely disagree. I think that maybe sometimes like there are games that are as exciting as CONCACAF Champions League games.
For
You know,
example,
we've seen LAFC, LA Galaxy,
mhm.
El Tráfico. We've seen so like great games between the two. We've seen Seattle, Portland. We've seen the great games between those two. We've seen at one point, I think it was even if you remember, like Columbus against Montreal when we lost.
The
That
epic
was a
4-4?
great
Oh yeah,
series.
shit.
For the neutrals, that was a great series. That
Yeah,
was
Oh,
great football, right?
yeah.
yeah.
So looking at MLS, you do have some great games. But yeah, of course, if you're watching like every game of MLS, uh, you know, yes, not all games are going to be better than Champions League, and that's why it's called Champions League, right? Because it's the top of the top, right? So, yeah, no, I don't agree with that, even if I kind of understand his point of view.
Hmm.
Well, yeah, but one thing for sure is that when I'm driving or I'm on the subway going to the stadium, there's not a game that hypes me more than a cup game. Champions League or Canadian Championship. I love these cup games. So
Mhm.
when we get MLS games, it's a bit. I like it too, but there's something missing. These cup games really have such a special flavor. So I get what he means, Markham, but. Yeah, there are some very, very good MLS games too. But personally, I would take cup games every day of the week, every day.
Yeah. And now, for me, I think the elimination factor makes it so much more
Yeah,
exciting than a run
yeah,
of the
exactly.
mill, even if it's like a rivalry type match. Like the examples Hady gave us, or just one of those crazy epic matches where there was like red cards and 15 goals and so on and so forth. I think the elimination factor is what makes Champions League so much more exciting than any in league MLS game. Playoffs excluded.
Yeah, but if you are at the end of the year, last 3-4 games of the year, you do have some great games because everybody's fighting for a playoff spot.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it
like
is
the
a regular
Orlando
game.
game last year was cool. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
The Houston game too. Yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah, great games, sure. But not as good
But I
as
still
Champions League.
I still prefer the Cup games.
Yeah, and like it's that midweek vibe, especially,
Yeah.
With nobody at the stadium.
But then it's like the people who are there are true blue.
True. Like I mean, the first
casuals.
round of the Canadian Championship, what we play at Stade Saputo is always amazing because we're like maybe 8,000 in the stadium, but it's like 8,000 crazy fans, and there's such an ambience and these late night games. I love it. I can't wait for it to start.
Join the club. All right, I'm on social media, and I'm really excited to share this one from my idolized Twitter account, Borjan Pants, who again is not me. So Borjan Pants tweeted, I think this was on Monday, the big guy is aware of our positivity with him, the team, and fashion. I'm thankful for everyone's positivity and humor during the pandemic. Milan's generosity and his sense of humor are amazing. And look at what Borjan Pants got, my guys. And for those of you not watching, he got an autographed pair of Borjan sweatpants.
Nice.
Wow.
How awesome is that?
That's amazing. Good for him.
Can't get better than that, man. That's 10 out of 10.
I mean, it's a really cool gesture to, somebody who brings, I think, a lot of humor to the Canadian national team social media space. So I thought it was a really nice gesture. And as well, now if somebody has their hands on a pair of those sweatpants and can tell me the SKU on them so I can find them myself and just make my own damn pants. So I just wanted to say congratulations to Borjan Pants for getting their hands on a pair of Borjan Pants.
Nice.
I'm sorry. That made me so happy when I saw that tweet for that.
It's maybe the sixth tweet that we have from Borjan Pants, and every time it's Eve choosing him. It's funny.
Hey, now Marco said MOTW, which I can only assume means man of the week.
Of the week, yeah.
Borjan.
Milan of the week.
Milan of the week, yeah.
Maybe. Alrighty. Yeah. No, for me, I thought that was, like I said, a really, really cool gesture. So that wraps up social media. Therefore, I believe, Hady, you are on duty.
I am on duty, guys. It's been a while. So first of all, let's wait for Choice's theme. Yeah, so choices today. I have 3 choices for you guys. It's been tough looking for innovating choices. So I hope these ones you like these ones. Let's start with the first one, guys. You're Wilfried Nancy. Georgi Mihailovic gets injured for 10 games, and he wants to keep the same system. Would you put at his place Matko Miljevic or Ahmed Hamdi? Or anyone else? Still keeping the same system. But for me, I only saw Miljevic and Hamdi.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm like, I could think of a couple other names I might try, but I don't have any sample size to judge it on, so it would be a hell of an experiment.
I'll go ahead.
Go ahead.
Listen, Georgie, it's his passing that's the most crucial part of the game in that particular system. I don't think Matko Miljevic, Ahmed Hamdi, or Joaquin Torres have that capacity at all, But even though in my my mind, Ahmed Hamdi is a number 8.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that he should be a number 8. The work that he puts in and the tactical knowledge that he's gonna learn and stuff should be around the number 8 position. I would be open to work him in that position during Mihailovic's absence, because I think he has the offensive flair. He's not as lively. He's really not as good as a passer, but he can bring something different. Maybe much more close support to the strikers, and the movement closer to Victor Wanyama and maybe the wingers. So Ahmed Hamdi for me, but wouldn't be ideal. But still, I think it would be better than Miljevic or Torres.
Yeah. I would have to agree, I think, and go with Ahmed Hamdi. The only other player we've seen in that position is Mako Miljevic, and it was far from a conclusive experiment at that position, and unfortunately at most of the other positions he's played. So based on the fact that I think Ahmed Hamdi is just a better player, like be it technically, physically, vision for the pass, whatever, I think he is better. So just on sheer quality of the player, I think I would go with Ahmed Hamdi. A small part of me was like, maybe Ismail Kone, but I think it's too big an experiment to go 10 games straight.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. Ahmed Hamdi for me is the only solution. Miljevic should play maybe up front or in another system. I don't see him playing the same role as Mihailovic. Yeah. Next one.
Wait, our listeners had a load of ideas. Hold on here.
They had a lot to say, man.
Yep. So Marco would actually try Chouanière.
That's really good.
Nice.
That's
cool.
cool.
Why not? Mm-hmm. Why not? Chouanière would be nice.
Yeah.
Chan said Torres. But he doesn't give passes, man.
Just because Torres is very and actually, Tammy
says Torres. Okay. So a lot of that's what choices is all about, eh?
Yeah. Spiced
Everyone has a different opinion.
Exactly. So next choice, guys. Would you rather win the series against Cruz Azul, but lose against Philly, New York City FC, and Atlanta, or lose against Cruz Azul and have 1 win, 1 draw, 1 loss in those 3 games in MLS? So you would have four losses in a row at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
So with Orlando, Philly, New York City FC, Atlanta, but you would win against Cruz Azul, and that would be a great thing. Or you would lose against Cruz Azul and get a 1-1-1 against Philly, City, and Atlanta.
Wow. Oh my God.
So now Eve's turn now.
Yeah, it is. Started. So if theoretically one was to beat Cruz Azul, you'd either be facing New England Revolution or Pumas, both of whom I think would put up a mighty fight against Montreal. So I have a sneaky suspicion that unfortunately that would be where the Champions League run would probably come to end. But that being said, there's just magic in winning Champions League matches. And to make it to the semifinals would still be really good, knowing that squad. So I'm gonna say, oh my God.
Man, that's a tough one.
Yeah. I guess
Chan has a comment for you. He's asking you if you're drunk already.
No, he's asking you.
No, he's asking you, Hady.
You think? I think he's asking Eve.
No,
Eve is hesitating.
Okay. So you're clearly not making the playoffs, just to be abundantly clear. And I think you're
it's 4 games. You still have 30.
It's against
Eastern Conference
teams.
Opposition. Yeah. And then you're in just a really crappy run of form that you have to dig your way out of. So
DC did it with Rooney and Acosta.
Yeah. Do we have Wayne Rooney?
Yeah, Let's
Maybe
sign
we
someone
will.
Rooney. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'm Team Chan. I'm Team Chan. No more beer for you. Hady.
Okay, so win.
Okay,
so win
Chris is
against
old. Chris is old. That's what I'm
Okay,
saying.
and lose the 3 games afterwards.
I don't think Montreal is making the playoffs anyway. So yeah.
So Chan is the only one from the people that are interacting with us that agrees with you, Eve. Sam, are you Team Eve or do you choose the other?
It's just so magical winning in CONCACAF.
I know. But
Chan says we have the
man.
whole season to
Yeah.
catch up.
Yeah, but it's short, man. It's 34 games MLS, and you just lost against Eastern Conference team. Oh man, that would be a miserable start to the season. 0-4. No, man, no. Look, we'll win the Canadian Championship this year again. Next year we'll go deep into the Champions League. You can't start 0-4 against Eastern Conference teams. So, nah, man, sorry, but I would love to win the Champions League or go far. I like it, but we have to make the playoffs, man. It's been such a long time.
Okay.
And if Henry and Renard call it the playoff, the play and see, he gave the bonuses. Remember he talked about this in Henry's year.
You know how I feel about that.
I'm not on that boat. So nah, man. No.
Okay.
No.
So
I'll take the
so
win.
Alain says exactly the same thing as you. You can't have 4 losses against Eastern teams. So that's J'aime le soccer. We talked about his tweet a bit earlier. Same thing for Tamise that says lose against Cruz and get 4 points against 3 strong teams. And Tamise also adds Montreal isn't winning the Champions League anyway.
I know.
And Marco Telehuro says Santos Laguna is winning 1-0 against Cruz Azul tonight in Liga MX.
Really?
Right now. They are winning right now. So you know what? I agree with most of the people that are interacting with us. For me, we don't have the squad to win the Champions League. And losing against Cruz Azul is not the end of the world. So, yeah, I would lose against Cruz Azul and I would get 4 points in MLS because for me, right now, we're not a team that can compete in the Champions League. We're a team that needs to get the playoffs this year. And losing the first 4 games of the year, it's a bit too much to swallow, in my opinion. So that's my choice. Let's move on to the last choice for you guys. It's about the Canadian women's national team because, we did a whole segment on it. Priestman right now has a record of 10 wins, 6 draws, and 4 defeats. Okay. She's doing very well. She got the gold medal at the Olympics. But Manchester City and their money comes in and swoops Priestman from her position with the Canadian national team. Who would be her replacement if you had a choice between Jill Ellis, so the former women's national team, the U.S. women's national team that won the World Cup 2015 and the World Cup 2019. Rian Wilkinson, that's, of course, a Quebecer, former player of the Canadian national team that right now is the coach of the Portland Thorns, her first year as a coach, but a player that's been within the national team for a while now, new blood, someone that we have some sort of relationship with because as a player, but also in Quebec being a Quebecer? Or would you bring back Kenneth Heiner-Morler? It's just for fun. That last choice.
No, I value my eyeballs. Thank you.
So who wants to start? Sam or Eve?
I know my answer.
Eve.
I'd go with tried, tested, and true Jill Ellis.
Jill Ellis?
Yep.
Okay. Sam?
Yep.
Well, the good thing if Bev goes to Man City is that Janine Becky's gonna play a bit more. That's for sure.
Do you think as right wing back? She's gonna play as right wing back again?
Yeah, no, maybe not.
God willing, no.
Um, listen, I know Giles had a lot of success, but I'd be curious to see Ryan Wilkinson, Quebec, and I mean, it's a tough one. I'll go Wilkinson just because of the Quebec connection, man. That's it.
Yeah,
How
same for
about you, Eddie?
me.
Yeah.
Same for me. Jill Ellis, I can't be coached by the former U.S. women's national team
But
Yeah,
Arctic
imagine
that's
rival.
beating
one
them
thing.
with
Yeah.
her,
I don't
yo.
care. I don't care. I don't want Jill Ellis. She's a great coach, but no, 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 no. And Rianne Winkelson, you know what? She's been with the national team program for a while as a coach, and also as a coach and as a player.
Mhm.
Um, as a coach with the youth teams. So yeah, I want to see her, and now she's getting confidence, and she's getting
If
some good experience with the
yeah,
Thorns in NWSL. So yeah, Rian
no,
Wilkinson for
I
me.
was gonna say if you asked me this question like 1 year from now, I would say Rhiannon Wilkinson because then she'll have that experience under her teeth, in it still in a different context because it's a club, but that would be my opinion. But
Yeah,
right as of right this moment, I would say Jill Ellis for the experience because I think Canada's talent, you need somebody equipped to handle all the talent.
yeah. So Alain agrees with you. He says Ellis makes U.S. Canada must-watch TV. He's completely right. And of course, Chan with the funny
Corinne
word
Diacre.
by saying
Oh
Corinne
God.
Jack. No, thank you, man. Chan. So for people who don't know Corinne Jack, just go Google her and you'll learn a lot about her. A great coach, but a bit stubborn. So yeah, let's go. Let's say it this way. So that's it for me for choices. So I hope you guys liked it this time.
Always.
Of course, as usual, man. It's always good. So I think that's mostly it for today, guys. It was really fun again, Eve and Hady, to
Mhm.
talk soccer with you. I think we had a very very good show, and I'm
Yeah.
happy to have spent these 2 hours 20 minutes with you guys, man. It was really fun.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
same
thank
here.
you. Like we had so many people tune in today. It was
Yeah,
awesome
Yeah,
to
yeah,
like
I'm really
chat with
happy.
so many other
Thanks.
people.
Yes, thank you to all the listeners, everyone who interacts. There's more and more people every show that joins us. So just keep it up. It was really fun. And it's fun all week to interact with you guys. Keep the correspondences coming. It's always a pleasure to hear from you. So guys, we'll see you in 7 days time for another episode of The Ball is Round. See ya.